Hello friends! Today I'm going to share my review of Karin markers. This is the BrushMarker Pro set. It's a beautiful set. It has a bunch of colors, very versatile. We're going to do a painting with it. I'm going to talk about my experience and give you some tips and tricks if you'd like to get a set on your own. I did get the set from them, but it isn't sponsored. They didn't ask me to write a review, but since I love the pen so much, I felt like I needed to. It just made so much sense, and I really like how versatile they are. So this is the big box. It has 60 colors with 12 of the neon shades. So it's quite a big set. It has a lot of different variety of colors. I really like their packaging. It was so nice. It came in perfect condition and no damage. It's perfect to keep so your pens don't get ruined, and they're really great in terms of seeing your colors as well. So really well done with that packaging. These are water-based brushes, and in the box they mentioned that it's perfect for calligraphy, graphic design, and illustration. I use it as a watercolor medium because when you use water with it, you can get a watercolor looking piece. You're gonna see what I mean by that in a bit. I have a fresh new page open and I've taken in the pink. I've got a range of colors going on. There are some colors that I used more often. So this is their pink. It comes off as an orange color when you paint with it or draw with it. And what I'm doing is circles and semicircles for our flowers. While it is still drying, we can switch over to our bright red to add in some dots for texture around. Since it's still wet, you can see how the color is blending and almost kind of mixing into the previous pink. So when I've done that texture with red, we can do the same thing with their magenta or purple color. And what that does is you have two colors that is still drying, and so we can actually play around with watercolor or brushes to enhance the piece. So just using that deep purple, I'm adding a couple of dots to the existing dots. We can switch over to our brush using directly clean water, so just no paint on it, just dragging over the color. And I love how beautiful that is. It was so simple. What's happening is that purple is just spreading through and we're just dragging it out to form our petals. This way we're getting a mix of colors, which is really great, and it's not just one purple shade. The colors really flow quickly. It's literally like using watercolors, but in the form of a brush pen. For a range of smaller flowers, I'm using light blue. We can just add in circles for the center of the flowers from down moving upwards. So making them bigger at the bottom and smaller on the top, and then going over it with a turquoise, so a deeper blue, and then just using a clean brush, basically just a water brush, and dragging out the paint to form the petals. I found that this is a lot more easier to control than if I had used watercolors as it is. And compared to other brush pens or brush markers, I found that Karin markers were a lot more water friendly. So the other ones that I tried just tend to stay stiff and didn't give this look. So I really like how great these were. And while it's still wet, I went in with another blue, and there you can see those multiple shades of blue coming through. Let's add in more flowers. So these are some orange buds. Just going in with the same, actually it's pink, but then you can see it looks orange. So that's a little detail for you to keep in mind. Some of the colors may not be exactly as shown in the cap or in the marker itself. The colors do tend to vary a bit, but I don't mind that. While it's still drying, using red at the tips, and this is going to give a little shading to those flowers. Time to add in leaves. So this is another color that looks a little bit different from the cap, but I really like it. It was the green that was in the set. And what I like to do is these bunch of vertical lines. And when I do that, I can then paint with a brush to create leaves. It's that easy. Using the darker green. By the way, all the colors that I have mentioned, I am mentioning it below in the description so you can have a look. So if you don't want to buy the whole set, you can pick up their smaller sets. I think they have one that is just 12 pieces. At least you know what the colors are. So it's all there below in the description. I also like that I can do thin lines with these, which is great when you're trying to do your stems. So sometimes with a brush, I kind of struggle to get a thin line. So this removed that stress for me, At the same time, because they are water based, I could create and add leaves to it and still make it look really great. Do you enjoy brush markers and would you like to learn to paint some bookmarks for yourself? I have a Skillshare class where we learn 5 different styles of bookmarks using brush markers. You can really play around. There's a lot of different techniques that I use, a lot of blending, different styles. And in the class, I explain the different materials that'll be required. We do a couple of practice sessions so you know how to blend and how to use your brush markers to create something beautiful. When you sign up for Skillshare, you basically get a month free. The link is below in the description. So join me and let's paint some bookmarks. Back to our painting. So I've done leaves. I'm going to add a lot more leaves for the blue flowers. And once we finish that, we have just a couple of more details to finish up the piece. Changing up the green again. Let's try a different green, and this is again going to be used for our first flowers that we had done, kind of the daisies, and just making the leaves a little different, which is also a very simple trick that you can do by just changing the size of the lines. I follow the same thing of just doing those V-shape bunches, and that forms a great base for me to then pull color from for the leaves. And while I use it mainly for painting, I found that it's really great for card making and lettering as well, because the same techniques that I used in terms of the blending, pulling out the color, all of that can be used for lettering. So you can do beautiful things with brush lettering using these markers. So I overall, if I had to rate it, I would rate it at a high. Just because I've also compared other brands of brush markers and I've realized that this one is definitely high up there in terms of quality, in terms of it lasting, because my set has lasted me for fairly long and it hasn't dried up, it hasn't gotten spoiled, whereas some of my other brands have deteriorated over time. This one has still remained perfectly just as it is, and the tip, very important, has also remained fine without any without getting damaged, which I think again is a very, very big deal when it comes to brush markers. So overall, I would give it a 4.5 up out of a 5. The 0.5 actually is just for the color matching because I did find it different to what the colors showed, but that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on Karin markers and subscribe for more content.